I'm Quita Culpepper in Austin. Hayes CISD leaders are proposing millions of dollars in cuts to next year's budget. Now, this comes after voters rejected a property tax hike back in November. The district says the cuts are needed because costs are rising and state funding is not keeping up. Reporter Daniel Perot has a closer look at the budget cuts the district is proposing.
At Hayes CISD, the halls are full and the district is growing, but
we have to figure out how we can be sustainable.
Hayes CISD leaders are proposing $12.25 million in budget cuts for next school year.
We hate to have to make these cuts, but unfortunately we just don't have the revenue to support what we've been supporting.
Last year, state lawmakers passed an $8.5 billion school finance bill, increasing the basic allotment per student by $55. But Hayes CISD Superintendent Eric Wright says that increase was not enough to keep up with rising costs.
If we don't keep up with inflation, something's got to give, and that's why we are where we are right now.
The districts will eliminate or change 125 positions and suspend stipends for 970 other staff members.
The majority of those positions are going to be collapsed through attrition, so that means people are retiring or leaving. We typically lose anywhere between 6 to 10% per year.
The largest reduction, about $5 million, comes from increasing class sizes across all grades, eliminating 63 teaching positions.
When you cut positions and you raise class sizes, it's going to hurt, and you'll have a little less individual attention.
Central office staffing cuts will save an additional $2.7 million, and suspending the stipends could save around $2.28 million. Fine arts, library services, athletics, and social services programs would also face reductions.
Some of the C teams that we had at middle school and some of the B teams that we had at the high school, those will disappear.
The district is also proposing selling land it owns, increasing school facility rental fees, and creating a virtual school program to increase funding and revenue for the district.
If we get more revenue, then we'll be able to add some of these things back that we're taking away, hopefully.
Wright says there are no easy cuts, but he tried to focus these changes on areas where he feels the district can handle some additional stress.
What's going to be hard is for all of the employees behind the scenes, because they're going to be asked to do more with less.
The district's Board of Trustees still needs to approve the cuts, and they're expected to talk about them at a meeting on Monday night. If approved, they'll take effect on July 1st. The San Marcos CISD School Board is considering adding 6 extra days of school to next year's academic year. KVUE's Jessica Cha spoke with district leaders about why they're making this move and how it could potentially save them thousands of dollars.
When it comes to school,
Safari, how many 3s go into 8?
The numbers matter.
Yeah.
Not just in Mr. Celestino Pacheco's 5th grade math class, but also how many days kids are in school, too.
TEA requires 75,600 minutes.
Which adds up to the traditional 169 instructional days of school in a San Marcos CISD school year.
We're meeting the state mandated requirement that's in place.
But Superintendent Michael Cardona says it's not enough.
Good evening, Board of Trustees.
Cardona says the idea behind why was presented to them last month.
The ADSY, the ADSY, is short for Additional Day School Year. They presented it to our superintendent in February.
ADSY is a TEA funding formula that allows a district to add up to 30 additional days of school if they adopt a 175-day calendar.
We passed our academic calendar in January for 169. So TEA said, hey, you're 6 days short to get this additional funding for something you already do.
So Cardona says they're reorganizing next year's school calendar to add 6 extra days to qualify for ADSY funding. If the school board approves, Cardona says that could open the door to between $350,000 to $500,000 of extra funding. Not only would the funding cover the cost of summer school, which the school typically foots the bill for, the rest of the money goes right back to classrooms and teachers like Mr. Pacheco.
Any extra money is being utilized here, whether it's resources for the students to improve the learning environment. And so that extra money really benefits them, which in turn benefits us as teachers.
Making those numbers count. In San Marcos, Jessica Cha, KVUE News.
The school board will vote to adopt this new school calendar on April 23rd. We're learning more about the charges a suspect is facing after police say he opened fire on a Home Depot parking lot in Bassrop. On Wednesday, police say 25-year-old Kobe Lee Moser drove into the parking lot and began firing an AR-15 style rifle. No one was hurt. An official with the Bassrop County Jail told us Moser is facing multiple charges, including aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and endangerment of a child. Police say the full extent of property damage from that shooting is still under investigation. For the first time in decades, Williamson County has a new floodplain map. Now, these maps are critical to development as it helps assess the flooding risk to property and lives. Here's reporter Daniel Gomez.
Berry Creek in Williamson County runs peacefully behind Bonnie McNamar's home.
That creek right now is dry. You'll see that when you go down there.
25 years living here, she's seen the creek rise up once.
15 years ago, it had been so very dry. And the amazing thing was our pastor on Sunday prayed for 15 inches of rain. Now, he was not expecting that to happen in one night, but it did.
McNamar lives in the vicinity of an updated floodplain.
Our last rainfall was a Texas-based rainfall atlas from 1998, and before that, the federal government rainfall data was from the 1960s.
David Zwerneman oversees floodplain planning in the county. He and his team worked to get the Atlas 14 study on the books. The county court approved it on Tuesday.
Some of the floodplains did get wider, of course, because of the higher rainfall, but then some of the floodplains actually got more narrow because we had better topographic information.
That includes the San Gabriel River, running peaceful for now.
The heaviest rainfall was here just outside the county boundary, and most of it traveled down the south fork of the San Gabriel. And
But last July, the San Gabriel saw the latest of 4 major floods in the county since 2010.
This was a good opportunity for us to come in and say we need to restudy the entire counties.
Zwerneman wants anyone building a life in the area to better understand the risks a heavy downpour can bring.
We do now require permitting for any kind of encroachments into the floodplain areas.
Floodplain or not.
Oh, listen, I wouldn't live anywhere else.
McNamar is at peace where she is.
And that was Daniel Gomez reporting. The county floodplain administrator says more updates to the floodplain map should be coming in the years and decades to come. And that's all from us here in Austin. Hope you have a great day.